Hey everyone, appreciate you tuning into the Wolves Den. Today on this episode, we got special guest John Ruggerio. He's been working with us over at Golden Wolf for a couple years now. He's our wholesale plant distributor over at Plant Detectives on Route 206 in Chester. Great store over there. Definitely have pretty much anything and everything you could think of, but I'll introduce him and have him take the floor and just share a little bit more about who he is, what he does, and all that good stuff. So, John, take it away.
Thanks for having us. I'm excited to be here. I know you. There was some background questions that we were going to go over.
Yeah.
I grew up in Morris County. I was pretty much raised there my whole life. I'm not from the green industry. You probably wouldn't tell. I actually used to manage a Jiffy Lube for a number of years.
I never even knew that.
This is like the complete different end of the spectrum. I guess numbers. It's a corporate business, so numbers weren't good for 1 month, and they started cutting everybody's overtime. And I've lived on my own for a long time, so it's like, well, I need a place that's gonna pay a little better. And there was actually a garden center down the street that was hiring, so it was like, all right, let me try it there. And it's funny because when I applied, I was like, I'd really rather not do anything management. Like, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, you have management experience, you're hired. And it was like, oh, okay. So that's kind of how I started. I asked questions, I asked the right questions, I asked the right people, and I just learned. When you're dealing with the public as much as you and I are, you just, you're going to always learn new things every single day. I don't ever consider myself a know-it-all by far, because there's something new that you're going to learn every single day.
How long have you been over at Plant Detectives?
So I started over here in 2018.
Oh, okay. 2007,
I began in the green industry. I was actually a paver guy when I first started. I was doing hard goods and fert and grass seed. I was at a place called Condorso's in Montville.
Okay.
I was there for a number of years, and I had an opportunity to kind of put the missing piece of my resume with the nursery end. Yeah. So I had a chance to come over here, and I was excited to get started.
Awesome. Yeah. And just go a little bit more in depth about you as a person. What do you do for fun, hobbies, family, anything else that we're missing right now?
So me and my wife, we have a beautiful 8-year-old girl. We're very close. Our family's very close. I'm actually, some hobbies that I do, I'm actually familiar with all this equipment because I have a little recording studio in my house.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
So I mean, anything that'll get your head nodding, you know what I'm saying, get your foot tapping, hip-hop. I do some worship music. I am very involved in my church, and one of my commitments there is actually running the broadcast for whatever the worship team's doing upstairs.
That's awesome.
It comes through me, and I have to mix everything before it goes out to YouTube or whatever platforms that they broadcast publicly.
Okay.
I also do jiu-jitsu. I'm a green belt in jiu-jitsu.
Learned a lot about you today.
Yeah, I'm actually awesome. Going for my brown belt in October. Okay. So keep my fingers crossed. And my instructor also offered me a teaching position too. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, part-time gig.
I'm excited. And it's just he's done a lot for me. That school's done a lot for me. Randolph Fight Center. And it's just I like to give back. I really do. I like to give back for people that have been there for me.
So I know a lot of people, especially myself, during the slower time of the year, coming into the winter. I know you're not really selling plants and selling things over at Plant Detectives. And I know for us as a contractor, we aren't doing too much. It's more of just a catch-up work. So what do you guys do during the winter time?
I take the layoff in the winter.
Oh.
My phone is always on, and I know I've done quotes for you over the winter and stuff, but we run with a skeleton crew. Yeah. There's definitely a sales force that stays on if somebody needs a couple containers or whatever. Because like you said, our inventory is not
sales
A to Z like it is. But there's some people that if it's a mild winter, that they will continue with the planting. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on too, pricing and ordering, just getting things booked for the upcoming season.
yeah.
So
I could imagine.
it's always like we're thinking like 3 months ahead almost on a lot of things. Like it's funny, one of my coworkers, I was like, hey, you got to start ordering Christmas soon.
Are you
because
serious?
it's like that's just where you have to be. You know, like you have to get your orders in by a certain time. In order to get what you're hoping to get, and that's just how it is. You know, once winter comes around, you're looking at spring. Once spring comes around, you're looking for fall.
Correct.
And that's just how the cycle goes. It's just how the cycle goes.
So I know that you said you've been over at Plant Detective since 2018. What changes have you seen over those 4 or 5 years ever since you were there?
So I didn't come with any plant knowledge at first. Okay, so I was kind of just a worker bee.
Yeah.
I've kind of, my position has definitely, they've given me a lot more responsibilities dealing with clients such as yourself, and we're very customer driven. So I try to, me and the other sales force, we try to make things a lot easier for you guys that are trying to source material, trying to bid material, and we hope that we could take a lot of that burden from you guys and put it on our laps. It's one less thing that you guys have to worry about. And I'm not really used to that. I am used to that in a sense, but it's very, very sales driven, customer service driven. And I mean, the owner does a fantastic job of ordering. He's got his hands on a lot of different sources that are reliable and that kind of keep everything moving. Yeah. I mean, just from the length as a whole, like I've seen technology change. I've seen equipment change. Years ago it was just forks and a skid steer, and you were offloading stuff.
Really? They never had those little buckets.
Then they started to introduce the chopsticks, and then here now they have the baskets on them, and it's like I could never imagine how we used to do it, trying to offload little arborvitae with forks and stuff, because it's difficult, and it's
you're taking double the time,
and it's
at
time
least.
Consuming. Yeah,
I even know if we were to go over there and get loaded, it still takes about if it's not staged already, it takes some time to load up.
Just running around grabbing everything.
Anything that you could save, if you could save an hour, half an hour at the end of the day, you're saving time on inefficiencies with the crew, as well as you can also load up another company as well, or get at that extra quote at the end of the day, so you're making yourself more efficient. So really, at the end of the day, that simple investment, such as a skid steer attachment, goes both hands. It affects.
And
both
I've even seen, just going to different trade shows and stuff, and you see like what the next big thing is. Like, some people can run around with like these little like register apps on their phone, and they could actually build a ticket like as you're selecting plants, and then they hit send, and it's off to it's off to your email, it's to the register, and that's it. Where years ago it was just carbon paper, like you're writing the whole order down, then you had to go ring everything in. So and I think that's like that with a lot of different industries. There's always going to be technology updates. There's always going to be a way to try to improve on operations, and I think you're just going to see that as time goes on. Technology, especially. Like everything is just. It's just moving so fast with how things develop and how they just get enhanced.
Yeah. I know when I roll into the Plant Detectives to see you or just take a look at some stuff, you always got your headset on looking like Bill Belichick over there.
I tell people all the time, I don't know how we used to do it without these phones. I got spreadsheets on here. I can look pricing up on here, emails. And I mean, that's just the game that we're in. Heavy phones, heavy text messages, heavy emails. So you see me running around with a little headset on because I need a hands free. Like half the time, my hands are full.
Yeah. But you do a great job. I really got to say, helping us out as efficiency, getting everything ready from all the quoting phase with you and I, since I mainly do 90% of the quotes. Just the efficiency. If I send you over something, it's either get it back within the next hour or tomorrow morning, and that just helps us out as a team, be able to serve our clients better. And also once we do get close a deal and communicate with you, you already have everything prepped and ready. So just being able to have that relationship with one of our vendors, especially with live goods plants, it makes our job much easier. So I got to say thank you for you and your team as well.
Yeah, listen, believe me, there's a lot of guys that have gotten me to the point that I'm at. What I'm saying? So it's definitely it's not just me over there. Like I'm just a result of my environment. For real.
Of course. From 2018 to now, I mean, besides technology, with the whole COVID spike, did you see sales go crazy? Did you see people be more conservative, more homeowners come in, more commercial contractors?
So here's what happened, right? I guess that was 2019 into 2020,
right around there.
So it was like, okay, here we go. We're gearing up for the year. You start getting some jobs. Then the COVID hammer slammed, right? So everybody got scared. Nobody wanted to talk to you, right? Because everybody was like, "Oh, we got to hold on to our money." Nobody knew what was going to happen, right? And then it just was like, "Can we work? Are we allowed to?" Like, we didn't know. Are we essential? Are we not essential? And I guess our lobbyist teams had said, "Hey, look, they're outside. We're very safe." Mm-hmm. So we were allowed to operate, and then just the phones started ringing. When you can't go anywhere except home, mm-hmm. everybody is just looking at their backyards and looking at the sides of their homes and looking, hey, mm-hmm. how can we add some curb appeal? And it just kind of took off.
Yeah.
Like it did. It kind of took off. I think there's something safe about gardening, just from during a pandemic that people found, like walking around outside next to plants and trees and shrubs. Like I think there was something that people just felt safe about that. Mm-hmm. Like you're not allowed to go to the movie theaters. You got to wait on a line at the grocery store. Like you were able to come, and the owner was very, he was very cautious. I want you to wear masks. Like we did the whole safety mm-hmm. protocol that we were required to do. But I think with a lot of people that had never gone through anything like that before in their life, mm-hmm. A nursery was kind of a safe place to come and just say, hey, look, like I'm outdoors, mm-hmm. I don't feel like I'm in danger at all.
I'm making my house look better. I'm doing something for myself. I'm getting outside.
Yeah.
I'm investing into my house.
Yeah.
There's so many things, and it looks nice at the end of the day. When you step back after, whether it be a homeowner or contractor doing it, you could be proud of your house, somewhere where you're going to be stuck for the next 4, 6, 8, 12 months during that COVID time. So I personally, as a contractor, saw so many people just invest a lot into their houses, especially plants, trees, flowers, perennials, annuals being a big thing that they invested in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it goes both ways for sure.
Yeah, I mean, staycation. Everybody did a staycation. Yeah. Back in 2007, 2008, when the recession happened, it was the same thing. Like, people were forced to stay home. Yes, you had to watch what kind of inventory you had on site. You know what I mean? But, like, you definitely saw, like, people were trying to just put money into their homes and trying to spruce up their homes, So,
I mean, this is sort of a little off topic with what we originally had planned, but just something that came to mind. Where do you see the end of this year? Because I know there's so many unknowns about pricing, about fuel, logistics, supply chain. Where do you see the next
year? I'm an optimistic dude, and I don't want to add to anybody's fears or I don't want to get into politics or anything like that. But I mean, the future's unknown, right? Like mm-hmm. like it just is. I'm an optimistic dude. I like to think that people see the value in landscaping. I think they see the benefits of improving their home. So I like to think that the ball is going to continue to roll. Mm-hmm. It seems like people are going back to work. It seems like that there's a little bit of play money, if you would. So
I'd say so.
I'm gonna try to just take it one day at a time. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna service my companies like I can. I'm gonna service the public like we can. And yeah, there's definitely gonna be supply mm-hmm. issues and stuff, but it's like that everywhere. You go to the supermarket. Hey, where's this type of Cheerios? It's like, hey, we just can't get that now. It's just it's like that with plants too. And the thing with trees and shrubs is you can't just make another tree. You got to grow. It's got to get sheared. It's got to
takes time.
We're dealing with growers that want to present a proper product and not just shove something out the door that's a certain size. So
and that's what makes you guys plant detectives at the end of the day. You're able to provide a quality product to
the owner's always been quality, at first. Like, it's got to be good.
Of course. I mean, speaking about the plants, not to be plant heavy, but being in the industry, both of us, what's something that you love most about plants, whether it be what it does for yourself, whether it does for your customers,
so it's funny, right? Like, even when I had an apartment, I have a condo now, so I can't really be the gardener that I want to be. Even on my windowsill, man, I got a little cactus up there. I think I got like a prayer plant. There's like a Norfolk pine. Somebody just gave me like bonsai seeds for over the winter that I'm like still trying to germinate. And my wife's like, what is all this stuff up here? And it's like, this is my little thing, you know. I think it's rewarding, man. When you put a little bit of time into something and you can actually care for something, you know. And I'm not plant crazy, but when you can like care for something and watch it grow and survive and it add a certain feel to your home, I think there's a rewarding feeling with that.
100%.
You know, like,
and it could really make a house at the end of the day.
And I absolutely love what I do too. Yeah. You know, like there's not a day that I'm like, oh man, I got to go to work. Like I got to go to work like the rest of everybody else, but I really enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm telling you, like even if it's everyday plants, like I'll see something new come off the truck, and it's like, wow, that. I'm going to stop and like appreciate that, and maybe that's just the people that I've been hanging out with is starting to rub off on it.
Definitely,
you know what I mean?
Be.
For sure.
But it really is nature's beauty at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
What nature has provided, what nature can bring to your house, it really just can transform a landscape and transform your lifestyle, really.
And it's not just flowers. I know a lot of people are like flowers, and that's great. Like flowers is definitely beautiful. There's texture, you know. There's leaf color. There's winter presence.
Privacy.
You know, like there's just it's a lot more beauty than just, oh, look at those nice flowers over there. Like I know one of the things you wanted to get into is like what's important with trees on a property. Like, you know, having the right plants in the right spots on the property can also be beneficial for in the summertime, like on the south side of your house. Like if you have shade tree, that can actually add shade to your home and keep your home cooler in the hotter months. If you have like conifers or something densely packed kind of towards the north, that's going to help with like those north winds. It'll help to kind of block. And these are things that people wouldn't they wouldn't think of. But I mean, I know on a hot day, if I take a break under a nice shaded tree, like that makes a big difference for me. You know,
for sure.
So I mean, it goes a lot more than just what you see. You know, there's also things that you can actually utilize these plants for. You were talking about privacy. I talk to so many people. Nobody wants to see their neighbors. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
It's like, hey, we want privacy from our neighbors, and it's like, okay, I get it. You know, like everybody wants to feel like they're on their own little, little plot. And that's just one thing you can do with plants.
Correct.
You know?
Even in commercial aspects, I mean, whoever walks up to an office building or a logistics center or whatnot and just sees it bare, it just looks like it's out of service. It's not maintained. They don't care about their presence. So taking care of your facilities from a commercial aspect, not just always a residential aspect, since we serve both of those clients, it has to go much more than just the presence of the plants. It's really about presenting something to, whether it be your customers, whether it be your family, whether it be your neighbors, and really just making something special with what Mother Nature has to offer. Another thing that just came up, I know that you're saying you weren't into plants, you didn't have so much plant experience and knowledge prior to coming over to Plant Detectives. For someone listening that may not be in a similar position that you were in, what did you do to gain the knowledge, or what was the best thing that you did to gain your plant knowledge?
So I think just the personality that I have, like I do want more, you know, and I want to learn more. Even before I was in the green industry, like, you know, I asked questions, and I wanted to kind of be the guy that if somebody had a concern or had a question, I had the answer, you know. More recently, like the Art, the owner of Plant Detectives, he invested in me. Like he did.
How so? If you don't mind me asking.
He allowed me to enroll in some courses at Rutgers, and that's exactly what I needed. Like I needed people that pull their car over to look at a tree because it's so beautiful. Like those are the kind of the people that I had to hang out with, you know. So he actually put me in like a plant ID and application course. And then I was also interested in landscape architect that the following year he allowed me to roll into. So nice. You know, he's invested in me. You know, and I just want to be able to serve. You know, and I think, you know, with anything that you do, whether it's a marriage, whether it's, you know, like anytime you could like take on knowledge from somebody and apply it to what you're doing. I think you'll excel in anything you're doing.
Correct.
You know?
No, I completely understand. Plants are definitely one of the hardest things to recognize coming into a newer industry.
And it can be intimidating.
It is.
You know,
I mean, even myself, I don't know all the plants.
It could be very
and species.
intimidating. I'll have people walk up to a little like 4-foot blue spruce, and it's like, well, that would look good on the side of the house, and it's like, well, listen, this is going to continue to grow, you know, and you know, you just gotta educate.
Yeah.
You gotta educate people.
And also another thing with the plants, there's so many different varieties of one specific species. Where I mean,
it gets tough, man.
It's tough.
Every year there's like a new hydrangea that pops up, you know, and it's just like, but for the most part, like things are pretty much the same year after year after year. They always try to invent a new spirea or the hydrangeas. Definitely a culprit every year. It's always going to be like that. Somebody tries to reinvent a flower and call it something different. They found it to grow a different way than it's the other plant, and you know, it's always going to be like that.
Yeah, of course. So when people come to plant the things, especially more residential, not residential, a more consumer based instead of a wholesale based, more commercial based. If people come up to you and have questions, or if people are listening to this and have questions, whether it be a homeowner, what would you say to them if they were just starting out in?
I mean, so there's a few things to consider. Okay, I mean, what are you actually trying to do? Are you just trying to spruce up the house a little bit, because you know that sometimes less is more.
Correct.
I know people will like look at they'll show me a picture of a home, and it's like, I want all this to like look, and it's like, you know, sometimes if you just put 3 things instead of where you want to put 6 things, it can actually do what you want it to do without overdoing it. I would say come up with a budget for sure.
That's huge.
And if you're not sure, like there's a lot of reputable guys out there like yourself that could kind of steer you in the right direction. And you may have a vision or something you saw on Pinterest where maybe we could paint a more realistic picture for you, you know? I know once you're actually on site at the nursery, like we're able to actually cruise you around and say, hey, look, you know, you said you have deer, you said you want evergreen, you said you want it to only grow a certain size. Well, here's XYZ. You know, here's a couple examples. And you could actually meet the plant and hug it, and you could pick it up and you know, spin it around and whatever you want to do. But, you know, it can be, I think it's like anything. You gotta know what you want, you gotta have a budget for it. And then, you know, if sometimes you have those weekend warriors that want to get things done, and that's fine, but I wouldn't look past hiring a professional too.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Just to steer you in the right direction and make sure that what your vision is actually able to be done.
Correct.
You know, and we could put through with that.
So much goes into picking out the plants, but another huge part of plant installation is actually installing the plants as well. And proper installation, proper watering, proper fertilizer, bumper crop, the whole 9, and that goes way beyond just picking out a plant, because anyone can pick out a plant, but the professional really could either share and guide you or do it themselves to actually install it, to make sure that plant lasts for years down the road, decades down the road, really.
Especially if someone like yourself is doing maintenance on a property, like you're coming back regularly to kind of to like manicure everything and aesthetically make it look good. Your guys are there, and your crew is there to kind of see how things are going, and you know, if there's anything that seems to be going wrong, then communications can start happening with the appropriate channels. This time of year, you know, people will come out and they'll want to purchase, and that's great. I'm not trying to just sell them something. Like, if you're going away on vacation for 2 months, like maybe we should wait to do this install. You know, like if you just bought a new puppy, like you got to take care of that puppy. You can't just like this. And it's the same. It's really the same thing. These are living things that like you said, they have to be taken care of. Once they're established, you could kind of lean back in the chair a little bit and let things do what they want to do.
That takes weeks, if not months, depending on the species to get it. Seasons, of course. What's going on in Mother Nature. But even with the proper care, there's always things that can come up. There's diseases, there's insects, but there's only so much that we can prevent as a vendor to an installer or contractor that we can do for the client at the end of the day. There's always going to be things out of our control, for sure. But it's definitely not something to be scared of or cautious of. It's just something to be
It's
aware
like
of.
cooking, like you got to kind of see what works for you, and
Yeah.
if a certain type of plant just doesn't work for you, like maybe that's a certain type of meal that you just stay away from,
Yeah.
and
Or-
it is what it
yeah,
is.
of course.
It is what it is.
Completely understand. And where do you really see yourself? It's a two-part question. Where do you really see yourself or the industry going in the next year, the next 5 years, 10 years, whether it be personal or professional as well, for your part?
So I think what you've actually seen is like a lot of the smaller businesses, like they kind of haven't made it through the last couple of years, and it's really like the companies that are about this are really thriving right now. Like a lot of the nurseries in the area, like we're doing pretty well. It's just some of those smaller businesses. It's just they haven't been able to make it. They don't have the foot traffic. They're not competitive on the buying. I think you will see that it's just tight on inventory. It is tight on inventory. We're doing the best we can to source material at a competitive price, with the quality at par, and we're trying our best to give that to the public. But I see, especially as the younger generations start to grow up, like they see value in gardening.
Oh yeah,
they
of course.
and they're attached to it. Like it's just like as the older generations, like they're not around anymore. Like our generation and the younger generations,
Correct.
like they're very involved in gardening and stuff at a young age. My daughter, she does these projects. She's 8 years old. She does these projects at school and stuff, and like they're very excited about that, and they're very into it. So like there's always going to be challenges. Every year there's going to be challenges,
Correct.
pricing, availability, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to have a job still.
Oh yeah.
I think the demand will be there, and the companies that are doing it right, the companies that are providing, that are doing a serviceable feat for the public, I think those are the guys that are going to stick around. I know I don't like when I go to like a big box store or something and like nobody's there to help me. Even though that's the guy that's in the plumbing section that's supposed to be the expert. That just turns around when you come in. Like the owner's very, very big on that. He calls it the Nordstrom experience. Like he wants everybody to come in, and he wants us to greet customers, and he wants us to engage with customers. Because, like you said, this could be an intimidating thing when you're out and you don't know what you're looking for. So, and I think that formula works. I've seen it work everywhere. I've seen it work everywhere.
Makes sense.
As long as you're engaging, as long as you're willing to put the time in to work with somebody, like. You'll get that business, and I know you see it too.
100%.
I know you see it too.
Yeah, it's definitely an investment for the long run. There's going to be ups and downs no matter what industry, what profession, what business you're in, but really just toughen things out and just having that brighter vision to be able to have that bigger goal. That there's your clients are really the biggest thing, that whether it be your internal clients or your external clients, I mean your employees or your actual customers itself, they're always going to take you to that next step. No matter the time of the year, no matter whether it's a recession or not, no matter the state of the economy, just investing in your people as well as your clients, that will help you out throughout your journey. Being a business owner, being in a vendor position.
That's a life lesson.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's a life lesson. You don't have to apply that to business at all.
Correct.
Like, you could take that home with you. You know what I mean?
It's reciprocity. What you give back, I may be saying this wrong, but what you give, you're going to get back tenfold, but you shouldn't be expecting it back, because you just need to give being in that position. Being in a service provider such as we are, such as you are,
100%.
You need to just give without expecting anything really. 100%. But it will come back eventually, 100%. Tenfold.
100%.
And where do you really see yourself going in the future, if anything? If you thought about this?
I said this earlier on. Like, I really don't project too far into the future. I'm a simple guy, man. Ham sandwich, and I'm good. It's funny because when I was getting interviewed for this job too, it came up to a part where you got to talk about salary.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, listen, man, I got a daughter. I just want to make sure she's taken care of, and maybe I got a little extra money for myself. And money can't buy happiness. I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with the crew that I work for. I pray for my crew, and even people that I deal with on a regular basis. You know, customers. Like, I like where I'm at in life, and I don't really like to look down the road too much.
That's
you know,
totally
like,
okay.
I'm just gonna work on today.
That's all you can do,
and we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I completely understand. What questions do you have for me, if any? If anything that you want to go over?
One thing we skipped was how we met.
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was
correct.
like so like you pulled up one day and you got a really really clean looking logo. It's a sharp looking logo.
Yeah.
So it was like
It came a long
hey,
way.
you seemed like an ambitious guy, and I was kind of an ambitious guy. So it was like, I don't know. We just started talking. I guess because how old is your company?
Been around since 2018. We had the name change. I mean, I shared this in other podcasts about what I really did to create the business, but been around since 2018, on and off, and throughout high school, dropped out of college, and this is my real second year in business with the Golden Wolf. Before it was Celiano Landscaping, and I met you when I was in Celiano Landscaping. It was just me in a pickup truck.
I'll tell you, it was the logo that caught me, man. I was like, oh man, maybe I can help this guy out, you know. And then we started having communications, and
it's all about those relationships.
That's
really.
it.
You help me, I help you, and I know John and I definitely have some stories. I definitely threw him through the ringer a couple times.
Well, listen, I've seen you
growing pains.
I've seen, yes, and that's like anything. But
Yeah.
I've kind of seen you. You're everywhere. Like I go on Facebook, you're there. There's a billboard. You know, like. You have a good buzz out there, you know, and even like your staff, I've seen you've taken on some salespeople. Rose is amazing, you know, like
she is.
So I mean, I think if you keep going in the direction you're going, I think you'll be pretty successful too, man.
Yeah.
You know,
of course, that's obviously the goal. Just trying to continue to get better and improve and develop these relationships and connections that will help us get to that point. Going back to my thing, just being able to serve and being able to provide that quality service for everyone.
We're in this together, for
real.
We're
Of course. But I mean, John and I, we definitely have a great relationship. I really do appreciate you coming on, just going over some things, sharing a little bit more about you, about the industry.
I was listening to the last podcast, and I was like, hey, you were kind of talking about marketing and what works for you, and you know what you've tried, and you know, I always like to hear what other people are doing and stuff, you know, and I think I had mentioned when I saw you, like, hey man, I was listening, but then I had to go load your guys because they came in, you know.
But I mean, just having this experience, just something to remember, just to go over this type of stuff. I mean, this could be one of the many types of podcasts that we have together. Who knows?
Right.
Whether it be about plants, whether it be about landscaping, or just life in general, really.
Right.
But I really think that you summed up who you are, the industry as a whole, and plants as a whole as well, what it brings to people, what it brings to yourself, and what it brings to us at the end of the day. So, again, I really do appreciate you coming on, just sharing some stuff.
Yeah, this is fun, man. I hope we get to do this again.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely outside of what our normal 9 to 5 is, our normal job description, I guess you can call it. But, I mean, this is the fun part about it, having these relationships. It should be more than just picking up plants and leaving and calling on the phone asking for pricing.
Yeah.
It should be about much more than that. Yeah. And I definitely think that this
hey, good luck in your radio career.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have a long way to go, but you got to start somewhere, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not perfect by any means, but I really enjoy doing this type of stuff, interviewing people, whether it be talking about my own struggles, because I know that how I started this business back in 2018 was listen to this type of stuff. So if I could at least just help one person out, that will make my day. So again, going back to the reciprocity, just being able to give back, go through, be able to share experiences that I've been through to help better someone else so they can at least learn from it, or at least be cautious of it going into a big risk, whether it be starting a business, whether it be coming into a business, buying a business, anything. It doesn't even have to be about business. It could be about life in general, just life lessons that I've learned. That's really why I enjoy doing this. Again, this is not top on Spotify or Apple, but again, you just got to start somewhere. I do it more for the passion than for the fame, for the views, for the dollars. I mean, I don't make anything from this. I just do it pure out of passion.
Yeah.
But
I get it, man.
Appreciate you guys tuning into this. If there's any questions that you have for John, is there any way that people can reach out to you? Or
we have plantdetectives.com. You can reach out. If you need to call the office, it's 908-879-6577. If not myself, there's a super knowledgeable staff that will be on call to help anybody that needs.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, John. I appreciate your time and appreciate everyone listening to this. And until next time, appreciate you listening to the Wolf's Den. Thank you.